Yo, what's going on guys, it's Cynical, and today for you guys I've got a different type of video for you guys. Today we're going to be looking at The Division. So recently I've been playing a bit of the beta for Tom Clancy's The Division, and I have to say that this is a game that I've been looking forward to ever since its initial reveal back in E3 of 2013. I believe it got delayed. I think The Division was meant to actually come out last year, but like something ended up happening, yada yada yada. But anyway, we're pretty much close to The Division's actual release, which is coming up March 8th, I believe, which is very exciting. The beta is currently going on right now, and I believe it ends either tomorrow or the day after that. But I have to say that I'm having a blast playing this game. Now, the footage that you guys are watching as of right now is, yes, of course, it's the beta. I am playing it on the PC version, so this is not the PlayStation 4, Xbox One version. This is the PC version right here. So I thought I'd just basically lay out sort of like my thoughts and feelings on this game, just due to the fact that I do have a small amount of hype for this game. There's really not too many games that recently have been piquing my interest, I suppose you could say. But The Division, after finally playing it, I have to say that I'm very excited for this game, and I have definite high hopes for it. So let's just start off. First of all, I want to talk about its atmosphere and stuff. New York City in a post-apocalyptic setting. Now, this is something that I've wanted for a very long time now, and I have to say that I'm a big fan of Fallout. Many of you guys probably already know that, and for the longest time now, I have definitely wanted Bethesda to go ahead and to make a Fallout that is based in New York. I mean, you know, we've been to Las Vegas now, we've been to Washington, D.C., we've been to Boston in the most recent Fallout 4, but forever and ever, I've always wanted Fallout to be put into, you know, a New York post-apocalyptic setting. And this is exactly what The Division is. The Division is set after some sort of, virus has broken out. I'm not really too up to speed with the actual lore of this game, but some sort of virus has broken out, like, society's gone to shit, and basically the city is not in a good place. That's what I will say. The city's kind of abandoned. There's like raiders and stuff like that, you know, all throughout the city who will like kill anyone they come across. Then you've got these other Division agents who like sort of help civilians, and that's exactly the role that you play in this game. The atmosphere of this game is just amazing. Like, you know, you're seeing New York with all the cars everywhere. Things are kind of ripped up and stuff. I'm not too sure if the snow goes away. That's one thing that does interest me a lot. Like, I'm not too sure whether or not the snow always stays there, but there's like snow all over the ground throughout the New York city streets and stuff like that. But yeah, once again, going back to that, I'm not really too sure whether or not, like, dependent on whether it's like sort of winter in like American time, it'll be like snowy and stuff, and when it's summer there won't be any snow. Not really too sure on that, but otherwise though, all in all, like, the environment and the atmosphere is just amazing for this game. Post-apocalyptic New York really hasn't looked like better than this. It is absolutely fantastic. And even speaking with the beta's pretty big. Like, in terms of what you do in the beta, you do one story mission, and that's about it. It lasts for about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. Then after that, you're free to like roam the streets of New York. You're only confined to a sort of small area for the beta. But even so, like, when I say small, it is still actually fairly big, including the normal sort of single player zone as well as the dark zone, which is essentially the multiplayer side of The Division. Let's talk about the gameplay. So, The Division is a third-person RPG shooter, which is very good. I love RPGs, I love shooter games, and when they come together and they're done right, they are fantastic. Of course, my favorite RPG shooters definitely have to be like Fallout, like I've already mentioned, as well as Borderlands. Definitely The Division is up there with those games as of right now, because I have never played a third-person shooter RPG, which has kind of grabbed my attention like this, and with like the gameplay as well as the atmosphere and what's kind of going on in the world space, it's really good, it's really attractive, it draws me in, it is fantastic. But yeah, the gameplay is nice. I'm playing on PC. Ideally, I'd be playing these types of games, you know, like on console with controller, and I'm really still at the moment kind of confused as to whether or not I'll pick the, you know, the full game up on PC or console. I do like the fact that, you know, the game does run at 60 frames and looks a tad bit better on PC. But then again, I do like the whole controller side of things. Then again, though, of course, I could actually plug in a controller to my PC. But the controls feel really good. They feel great. They're very easy to you know, maneuver around. Basically, this game is a cover and shoot shooter. So if you play Gears of War and you're used to sort of, you know, taking cover and then peeking out of cover and like shooting enemies, that's basically exactly what you do in this game. And it's done really, really well. You know, there's a mechanic for basically switching between different cover objects, I suppose you could say. So basically, if you're taking cover behind a car and you see a barricade in front of the car, you can look towards that barricade, press down the shift button, which that's for PC, and then your character will sprint while ducking to that next cover position, which works really well, really flawless. The RPG side of things works pretty damn good as well, which surprises me for a Tom Clancy game. I just didn't really think that, you know, they would be able to pull off that type of stuff, but they did it really well. I have to say, they did it just fantastically. So yeah, basically, you can equip your character with different armor bits, guns and stuff. They all have different stats, whether it provides you with better DPS or, you know, better reload speed or better health, whatever. There's tons of different stats for all sorts of different pieces of like armor that you equip, as well as, of course, your guns. So this is an RPG, so there are different rarities and whatnot to the different items that you pick up. So sometimes when you kill an enemy will then drop an item. So far I have come across a grey, which is just like the normal. You got your green, which is just like an uncommon. You got your blue, which I believe is rare. I haven't come across anything greater than that, but I do believe there's like legendary, so I've heard. So yeah, there are rarities to the different items and stuff, which is great because instantly that's familiar for people who have played other RPG games in the past. There's also roles in this game. There is the standard healer, DPS, and tank. So, you know, if you've played like MMOs or other RPGs in the past, you'll instantly know what I'm talking about. Yes, there are different class roles in this game, whether or not you want to be a healer to provide support and, you know, health and stuff towards your squad, whether you want to be DPS to lay out that damage, to, you know, lay out those enemies to keep that squad alive, or if you want to be the tank to absorb all that damage and be that shield for the squad, you have those options. And each of the different classes and whatnot, they have their own skill trees. I mean, if you want to be, you can be a DPS as well as a healer. So you, like, ultimately, if you want to have, you know, some damage skills and stuff, you can do that, as well as having a few, you know, healer skills. So it really works really well. You know, this game actually does give you the option and choices to kind of make your own sort of unique character build, and having that freedom and those options is a very important aspect when it comes to RPG games. And even though you're kind of limited to skills in the beta, I would say that when the full game comes around, the character customization in terms of being able to build your character that, you know, like the way you want, it's going to be fantastic. Another thing that I thought I would mention is the fact that, of course, I said, you know, in the beta, there's really only one actual mission you do, and then once you finish that, that's basically it. Well, once you've finished that mission, yeah, like I mentioned, you can roam the streets of New York and do all sorts of other things. And these other things are mainly consisting of the Dark Zone and the random encounters. So the random encounters are something that I do want to talk about, and I'm sure there's going to be a ton of them in the actual game. So basically, while you're just exploring New York, going through different, you know, shops and stores, and just exploring the streets, you know, taking down raiders and mercenaries, commonly you'll come across these things called random encounters. And quite commonly, these consist of, you know, saving some hostages, taking out a group of bad guys, helping out some other Division agents, NPCs, I'm talking about, helping them defend themselves off other mercenaries trying to attack them. Basically, they're just mini missions or mini objectives and stuff, and they reward you with all sorts of items, mainly speaking XP, of course. But it's great because it adds like another extra little thing to do while you're just free roaming and exploring. I know that a lot of people, when it comes down to it in open world games, they don't necessarily want to be doing the story missions, but they just want to free roam and stuff. And with these random encounters, it definitely gives that sense of immersion into the world space, like things are actually going on, and yes, this is a post-apocalyptic kind of setting with dangerous events and different scenarios that are currently happening in the world space. So yeah, I really do like the idea of the different random encounters that do happen. I have to say, within the small space that you're allowed to explore in the beta, there's a ton of different random encounters that you can come across, and they are all very fantastic and varied. Lastly, I want to talk about the Dark Zone. So ultimately speaking, I think that the Dark Zone is probably where you're going to be getting your money's worth when it comes down to the Division. Now, the single player aspect of the Division is a lot of fun. I'm not saying that you absolutely need friends to play this game, because I haven't even been playing with any of my friends because, you know, they didn't bother to get the beta. So I'm not saying that this game is lackluster when it comes to single player, but I'm just saying with some friends or even a group of randoms when you're playing online, it is a lot of fun. Now, the Dark Zone is basically specific areas in New York, and these are the kind of more contaminated areas, and essentially they are PvP areas. This is where the multiplayer side of the Division comes in, and it is fantastic. As soon as you stand into that Dark Zone, you'll be seeing people run around and stuff. Whether they want to kill you or not is completely up to them, or whether you want to kill that person or not is completely up to you. And that gives you that choice. It gives you that choice of being that survivor, whether you want to, make someone surrender, or whether you just want to be a straight ruthless motherfucker and gun them down right there in the street. This game gives you that choice. You can perform different emotes and stuff to different players while you're in the Dark Zone to say, hey, I'm a friendly, I don't want any trouble. You can also use voice chat as well on all of the different platforms, not just PC, but like PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So you can come across someone and say, yo, dude, like, don't shoot me, man. I'm wanting to team up with you. It's really great, and that's that extra amount of immersion that this game is adding to. The Dark Zones are basically where you're going to be finding a lot of the better loot and better items. You're still going to find decent loot by doing the missions in the single player side of things when you're not in the Dark Zone, but ultimately if you want the best stuff, the best stats, and the best rarity, definitely go into the Dark Zone. Now, the thing with the Dark Zone is any items that you find in that Dark Zone, you actually have to evac it out of the Dark Zone, and then it will be sent to your stash for decontamination. So this is something that you have to do. So I believe you can get up to a maximum of 8 items while you're in the Dark Zone. You have to then find an evac zone, call in the helicopter, which can take about, I believe it's like a minute 30. Now, when you are calling in the helicopter, this little indication of the helicopter coming in for evac is actually sent out to all the players in the Dark Zone. So this is the cool thing, right? So say you and your squad are trying to, evac out all the items that you've just found in the Dark Zone. The alert that the evac is coming in will be sent to all of the other players out there. So perhaps maybe all these other players that are wanting to kill other players for items and extra XP, they'll be like, okay, we know that there's a squad over there trying to get items out, let's go kill them and take those items. So it can get pretty crazy and pretty wild, but all in all, guys, that is my thoughts and kind of opinions and feelings towards The Division. It is a fantastic game. Of course, that's from my opinion. Some people might think otherwise, but currently right now this game is getting a ton of positivity, which is just absolutely fantastic. I would say that The Division is most definitely going to be one of the greater games of 2016. And, I mean, that just really goes without saying. If you played the beta, I'm pretty sure you know this is definitely a game to look forward to. Otherwise, guys, that's enough from me. Hopefully you have enjoyed today's video, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.